Hello and welcome back to Legend of the Stars qualifying tournament number 3. We just saw Mephi advancing through, keeping himself in the top bracket while Nexus dropped down into the bottom bracket. Next up, we are going to go and take a look at our losers from our first 2 games. They are down in the bottom bracket right now. They are getting ready to fight it out. The loser is going to be ejected from the tournament while the winner is going to continue on and have another shot at getting up there. Alright, so the losers from the first 2 games are Blodir and Morax. They are going to be battling it out on Theater Passage, so don't get ready for a long one. There's no need to go and fetch any popcorn. Theater Passage is always a very quick game indeed. So here we go. Let's go and find out who is going to advance. Alright, Theta Passage. This is a very small, very fast-paced map, and we have got in the south Blodir going in his customary purple color. We'll just fix up that mini-map just a little bit for you. There we go. Blodir in his customary purple color, he is going to throw down his first Tech 1 land factory. He is getting adjacency on one of those mass extractors. He is actually going to go for a second power generator, well, a first power generator as well before he heads up to that hydro. His opponent in the top right corner has opted for UEF. He's going to throw down his first land factory, getting adjacency on the mass extractor, and also going for a first power generator that's going to give him enough power to get through, get out to the hydro, get everything built that he needs to build. And in fact, he's actually going for a first scout. Very, very interesting there from Morax. I think he was suspecting Blodir might go first bomber. I'm not sure if there was any chat that might have indicated that could be the case, but it certainly isn't. As we can see here, there is only a land factory. So very aggressive actually here from Morax. His second unit out is going to be a mech marine, so definitely going for the raiding game. He's going to be hopeful at picking up some engineer kills. The only problem with that is that we can expect the ACU is actually going to be out here assisting those engineers very, very quickly, and it is going to have to be picking up the expanding engineers that come out this side of the map and out to the top and grab the reclaim. Those are going to be the targets that Morax is going for. Well, actually, no, I'm talking lies here, because we can see what is going for. He is going to get into the back of the base and try and do a little bit of damage, but a single mech marine against a factory and a couple of mexes, perhaps not the best option ever. And we've got the same sort of thing going around here. So another mech marine. Definitely intentions from Morax here to get into the raid game and just cause all sorts of headaches for Blodir. He will, it looks like he will actually be bringing those mech marines within range of that ACU. So like I said, the ACU will be on support for the engineers in here, and it is going to be able to deal pretty quick damage to that. The engineer here is hitting the micro buttons all sorts of quickly. There we go. The engineer is trying to stay alive. He is down to 50 HP. The Aurora comes in and saves the day. 29 HP left on that engineer. So unfortunately for Morax, the build time and the travel time of that mech marine unfortunately amounts to nothing. The engineer carries on its way out here to build. The other mech marine though coming in this side, that is maybe got a little bit more of a chance of success against this engineer. Unfortunately, there are of course Auroras rolling off the factory floor for Blodir, and actually they've spotted the mech marine already. A single hit takes over half the health away, a second hit finishes it off. So mech marines not quite the order of the day there for dealing damage to Blodir. Another raiding party just coming up the left as well, so that is going to head across. I don't know that there is really a lot of point at this stage in continuing to fling mech marines against the Auroras that Blodir's got. Those Auroras have got fantastic range. It's clear that Blodir is onto the plan. He's got these Auroras, they've got radar coverage as well. Those guys are going to come in and cause all sorts of headaches. That does mean that Morax may be just a little bit behind, because remember, he invested a little bit in getting those mech marines out rather than getting the engineering power online. So Blodir is actually 40 behind in power, so a lot more power focus there from Morax, and both these guys sitting on 11, so it has definitely not hurt the eco game at all. Has it hurt the production game? So we've got the initial land factory, we've got one combat land factory, and a second one just about 50% complete. Whereas down here, we've already got the 2 land factories online from Blodir up here, and a third one just about a third of the way complete. So just a bit more production capability for Blodir at this point. And the Aurora coming away with the win just in this right-hand side here. There is another striker coming up. If there is not careful micro from Blodir, that striker will actually be able to take him out. A scout in this position here, he's just hoping to be able to take out and do a little bit of damage. Actually, he might be able to do a bit of damage here, because this engineer is the one that was hit before. It was sitting on only 29 HP. It is down to 13, down to 9, even though it's a very, very pitiful amount of damage. It was still at risk of taking the engineer out, but this Aurora on retreat manages to save the day, and that is the end of that. Now, this map being so small, production is absolutely vital. So it doesn't matter if you can get your eco online, you have to have the factories online to get the most out of it. And we can see that Morax here is sitting on only 2 land factories for combat, and what is this one here producing? It is producing strikers as well, so he's got 3 on combat duty right now, whereas we have now got 5 land factories online for Blodir, and there is combat coming out of this back factory as well. So that is a big production advantage. Let's just have a quick look at how these guys are using their economies. So Blodir is actually sitting on half a bar of mass. He needs to convert that into Auroras, and he's sitting pretty well on energy, just a little bit in the positive most of the time. Right now, just in the negative, so very nicely balanced there. Morax, he is not quite got as much mass in the tank, so he's doing a better job of spending all he's got. In fact, he's going to be running a little bit short on mass pretty soon, and he's sitting on a fairly balanced power game as well. Unfortunately for him, Blodir is sitting on 23 mass per tick to the 15 that Morax has. That puts him at a pretty severe disadvantage. That is the ability to run just about 2 full factories down here for Blodir that Morax just doesn't have, and that is going to spell disaster in a pretty short amount of time. In fact, Blodir extremely cheeky here. He's coming forward and he is grabbing mass extractors that he clearly should not have. He's also grabbing the mass extractors up on the plateau. He is grabbing a huge chunk of this map, and Morax is very quickly finding himself without any combat units. Just those 2 factories there are definitely not enough to be able to do what he needs to do to stave off defeat in this one. So it is probably going to be a pretty short match. We're talking about 5 minutes in right now. He is going to... Well, I thought he was going to be very quickly under a lot of fire from Blodir, but Blodir actually opting to play it slightly safer. He's going to bring his ACU back. He's going to solidify his advantage and then come back with full force. So he's going to raid the outer lying mixes here. He's going to build all what he needs to build in here, pick up all of the reclaim to boost his eco. He's now sitting on almost a 3-to-1 advantage in terms of generated mass. He is sitting on a decent stack of land factories there, but I'm not sure if there's quite enough to spend all of that mass. No, we can see he's still sitting on 800 in the tank, so he just isn't able to spend all of the mass fast enough. And in contrast, Morax is sitting on just a tiny fraction of mass. He is managing not to stall. He has actually opted for Tech 2, so that is going to give him Mongoose pretty quick, but he needs to be able to have a little bit more on the field, I suspect, than he currently has. That Mongoose does not have a huge amount of HP. It will die pretty quickly as soon as he can't kite anymore. So if he gets overrun by these Auroras, that is going to very, very quickly spell the end of it for Morax, and he's going to take a little bit of fire from these Auroras up here. Those Auroras can definitely kite and cause all sorts of problems. We can see those grenades coming in from the Mongoose doing a very nice job of damaging the Auroras. The trade-off, of course, for the Auroras having extra range and that hover capability is the lower health, and they will die pretty quickly. But in this case, I'm not sure if that's a big problem, because there are just so many of them on the field. The mass income 31-9, definitely. Look at all of this land spam. That is a death knell for Morax. He's just trying to kite these Auroras with those Mongoose. The big problem here, this map is so small, there is just nowhere to back up to. He cannot be like the Russians in winter and just back up and let the Auroras fling themselves against his defenses and die. That is not going to happen. He's going to run out of space. Those Auroras are going to get in there. They're going to trap the Mongoose. They're going to dismantle them very, very quickly. and we can see now that Morax is taking a lot of fire there on his ACU. His monkey's just not able to deal the kind of damage that he needs. He does not have overcharge, he will not have enough power. In fact, he's sitting on only 80 power income because his hydro has gone down. His mass extractors in the front are under threat. The power generation at the front line is under threat as well. He has got very, very few options left to him. The T2 factory is still online. It hasn't taken any damage yet, but he just doesn't have enough to fuel it. He's sitting on 7 mass per tick now and 60 power income. There is just nothing in there to fuel his war machine. And a huge war machine from Blodir is going to be bearing down on him any moment now. Blodir just solidifying his position, deciding he needs a little bit more power actually, so he's going to build power right here on the front line, because why not? Who needs to build power back at your base with engineers when you can build it on the front line and use it for cover? It doesn't even matter. Alright, the Auroras are starting to make their move. They are going to come up against this point defense, and there are a bunch of fervors in the mix because Auroras do very, very poorly against point defense. The hydro goes down once again. That never got completed there for Morax. Unfortunately, that is a bit of a death knell. The ACU here down to 6,300 HP, taking all sorts of damage from every single angle. He is going to be having a very, very bad day any second now. That is absolute carnage there on the front lines. That will be a little bit disappointing for Morax. He is a big chunk of rating differential lower than Blodir is. So Blodir is sitting on 2,100 global rating and Morax sitting on 1,400. So that is always probably going to go Blodir's way. Alright, so we see Blodir mopping the floor there with Morax. That means that he is going to continue in this bottom bracket. He's going to be able to challenge some of the other players that drop out of the top bracket. If he can keep himself alive for long enough, he can get back into the final. We'll see if he can make it back there, or whether this is another lost cause. In any case, that is the end of this fourth game from Legend of the Stars tournament number 3. We're qualifying for the end of year finals, where there will be a $500 cash prize for first place and a nice little trophy that Zoc has managed to dig up from somewhere. There is also a bit of cash for the other places as well. This is having a fantastic effect of pulling a bunch of high rated players out of the woodwork, though not all of them have qualified yet. Blodir being a good example of that. Very high rated, very well regarded in the Forged Alliance Forever community, but still not able to secure that spot for the tournament. Alright, we will be back and we will see how some other players are going to fare in their quest to the finals.